The lake is almost perfectly still this morning. Sometimes I wonder if that is why I keep coming back here. Not because life is quiet, but because the water reminds me that it can be. There was a time when I thought I had found everything I had ever wished for. A little house, a loving partner, 2 wonderful children filling every room with laughter. It was not a big house, 2 bedrooms, a small living room, a kitchen where almost everything happened. Breakfast, homework, conversations, dinner, life. 4 people sharing a space that somehow felt both full and warm, and for a while, it felt perfect. Back then, I was not working. For a few months, I had the rare gift of quiet days. The house would slowly wake in the morning, coffee brewing, small feet moving through the hallway. Someone searching for a missing shoe, someone laughing at something no one else understood. Then the front door would close, and the silence would return. I never thought much about those hours. I simply lived them. I made coffee, opened the windows, tidied the kitchen, read a few pages of a book, sat by the window and let my thoughts move at their own pace. Sometimes I did nothing at all, and doing nothing felt like breathing. Looking back now, I understand something I did not understand then. Those quiet days were not empty. They were giving me back to myself. So when everyone came home, I could give myself freely. The children would fill the house with noise. My partner would bring the day back through the door. The rooms would come alive again. And I loved it. The laughter, the movement, the ordinary chaos of a family building a life. There was silence during the day, and life in the evening. Somehow, there was room for both. That was the balance. I just did not know it yet. Then life moved forward, as it always does. I started a new job, a leadership role, a demanding one. Every day was filled with people, questions, meetings, decisions, problems that needed answers, employees who needed direction, conversations that required focus, responsibility that followed me from one hour into the next. And the strange thing was, I loved much of it. People sometimes assume a busy mind is the problem. For me, it never was. I love thinking. I love solving problems. I love seeing patterns before they become obvious. I love using my mind fully. But using your mind is not the same as giving it away. And every day, I gave a little more of it away. By the time I drove home, my body was in the car, but my mind was still in meetings, still answering questions, still replaying conversations, still holding pieces of other people's problems. Then I would pull into the driveway. The house would glow with warm light. I could see movement behind the windows, the children inside, my partner in the kitchen, the life I loved waiting for me. And I would sit there for a moment, hands resting on the steering wheel, engine off, just breathing. Not because I did not want to go inside, because I wanted to arrive whole. I wanted to leave work in the car. I wanted the people I loved to receive more than whatever was left of me. At first, it was only a minute. One quiet breath before opening the door. Then 2, then 5. Small things like that rarely look serious when they begin. They look ordinary, harmless, almost invisible. But sometimes the first sign that something is changing is not a breakdown. It is a pause that keeps getting longer. Inside the house, nothing was wrong. That is important. Nothing was wrong. Dinner smelled good. The children talked over each other. Someone needed help. Someone wanted attention. Someone laughed. Someone asked a question before I had even taken off my coat. And I loved them. I need you to know that. Because what happened later was never about a lack of love. Love was everywhere. In the hallway. At the kitchen table. On the sofa. In the small, tired smiles at the end of long days. Love filled that little house. But there was something else I needed. Something quieter. Something harder to explain. And at first, I did not yet know how to name it. At first, I thought I simply needed a little time to adjust. A new job, a new rhythm, a different kind of responsibility. Surely that was all it was. Life has seasons. This was just another one. Every evening unfolded almost exactly the same. Dinner, homework, stories about school, laughter around the kitchen table, a movie on the sofa. Sometimes one of the children would fall asleep with their head resting against me. Those are still some of my favorite memories. When people hear this story, they sometimes imagine a home filled with conflict. It wasn't. It was filled with love. That is what made everything so difficult, because nothing looked broken. Not from the outside. When the children finally went to bed, I would quietly look toward the bookshelf, sometimes toward my computer, sometimes toward a game I had not touched in weeks. Sometimes I simply wanted to sit with a cup of tea and hear my own thoughts again, just for an hour. Not because I wanted to be alone instead of being with my partner, because I needed one small part of the day where my mind belonged only to me. But my partner loved those quiet evenings. The children were asleep. The house had settled, finally. We had time together. There was nothing wrong with that. In fact, it was beautiful. Conversations about the day, dreams about the future, planning holidays, laughing over small moments neither of us wanted to forget. Looking back, those conversations were never the problem. The problem was that I no longer had anywhere to recover. I tried to explain, not once, many times, always hoping I had finally found the right words. I just need an hour. It isn't about you. I'm just tired. I need a little quiet before I can truly be present again. Every sentence made perfect sense inside my own mind, yet somehow, my words always became something else before they reached my partner. I said, I need quiet. My partner heard, you don't want to spend time with me. I said, I'm exhausted. My partner heard, you don't love me the way you used to. Nothing could have been further from the truth. I wasn't asking for distance. I was asking for recovery. I wasn't asking for less love. I was asking for enough quiet that I could keep giving it. The conversation slowly became arguments, not loud, not cruel. Just two people trying to solve different problems without realizing it. The more I tried to explain, the less understood I felt, and the more misunderstood my partner felt. Sometimes I would lie awake long after everyone else had fallen asleep. Not because I couldn't sleep, because I was trying to figure out how to explain something I barely understood myself. How do you describe a need that has no obvious shape? How do you explain that silence is not loneliness? That being alone for an hour is not the same as wanting to be alone forever? I searched for better words. Every single day. And every single day. I came home hoping this would be the evening they finally worked. But they never did. Weeks quietly became months. Without even noticing, I began making tiny changes, small adaptations, the kind you hardly see while they are happening. I stayed in the car a little longer before going inside. I volunteered to buy groceries more often. I chose the longer road home. Not because I enjoyed driving, because every extra minute felt like one more breath before giving myself away again. One afternoon, I caught myself thinking, I don't want less of my partner. I need more of me. It was the first time those words had ever formed inside my mind, and they frightened me because I knew they were true. I just didn't know what to do with them. The changes were so small. I don't think anyone else could see them at first. I couldn't see them either. I simply started walking an hour after dinner, sometimes 2, sometimes longer. I never had a destination. I wasn't trying to get somewhere, I was trying to become quiet again. The strange thing about those walks was that they never felt lonely. For the first time that day, nobody needed anything from me. No questions, no decisions, no conversations, no expectations. Just the sound of my footsteps, the wind moving through the trees, and my own thoughts, slowly finding each other again. The hardest part was never the walking, it was turning around, because every step toward home meant leaving that silence behind. I remember one afternoon. We had been invited to spend the evening with family. Normally, I would have looked forward to it. Instead, I caught myself hoping everyone else would go without me. That thought stopped me. I sat there asking myself, when did I become someone who secretly hopes plans get canceled? Not because I didn't love them, because I was counting the hours until I might finally be alone. I even remember pretending I wasn't feeling well, just so I could stay home for a few quiet hours. When the front door closed behind them, the house became completely still. I didn't turn on the television. I didn't play music. I simply sat there. And for the first time in months, I could hear myself think. It should have felt like relief. Instead, it felt like grief. Because I finally understood what I had been trying to explain all along. I wasn't trying to escape the people I loved. I was trying to find my way back to myself. That realization broke something inside me. Not because I had stopped loving my family, because I hadn't. If anything, I loved them more than ever. It broke me because the person I loved most still couldn't see what I had been trying so desperately to explain. Not because my partner didn't care. Not because my partner wasn't listening, but because some experiences are almost impossible to understand until you've lived them yourself. We were both speaking honestly. We were simply speaking different languages. I kept hoping the next conversation would be different, that somehow I would finally find the words, that somehow my words would become understanding. They never did. And slowly, I began disappearing inside a life I had once dreamed of. People often think the hardest decision was leaving. It wasn't. The hardest part was realizing that staying meant slowly leaving myself. I held on for as long as I could, long after I knew something had to change. Because love always whispered, try one more time. So I did. Again and again. Until one day, there was nothing left to give. When I finally packed my things, it happened quickly. People sometimes think quick decisions are impulsive. This one wasn't. The moving happened in a week. The decision had quietly taken months. Every conversation, every walk, every evening sitting in the driveway, every attempt to explain, every silent hope that tomorrow would somehow be different. Those were the real decision. The boxes simply came at the end. Sometimes people ask me if I regret leaving. I always pause before I answer, because the truth is, I don't regret choosing myself, but I will always grieve the life I wanted us to have. I never wanted another home. I never wanted another relationship. I wanted enough quiet to keep loving the one I already had. The lake is still quiet. My coffee has gone cold. A light breeze finally reaches the water, and the perfect reflection slowly disappears. I smile. Not because the story has a happy ending. Life rarely works that way. I smile because today, when doubt quietly visits me, I no longer run away from it. I sit with it. I listen. I observe, and eventually, I find my way back to myself. That is what these quiet mornings have given me. Not a life without struggle. A place where I can remember who I am. If you have ever loved someone, while quietly disappearing inside yourself, I hope you remember this. Needing silence does not mean you love less. Sometimes, it is simply where you find yourself again, and perhaps the greatest act of love is not asking someone to become more like us, but trying to understand the parts of them we have never experienced ourselves.